Hello folks, today is Friday, February 5th, 2021. As usual, my name is Jake Baldino, here to talk about all the video game news that has been going on this week. Let's get you guys caught up. There's a lot of interesting stuff. The first bit of news involves the next Battlefield game. Are people looking forward to that? I don't even know anymore, but it is pretty interesting because, here, let's talk about it. So, EA had an earnings call and they have officially confirmed that a Battlefield game is coming in 2021, so there's a big new first-person shooter multiplayer game to look forward to. But the big question is, like, the multiplayer landscape in the last year or so has changed quite a bit. Battlefield 5 was kind of, I had fun with it, but for me and some other people, like my close circle of friends, didn't really have a lot of legs. So what are they doing here to make it stand out? What's different? And with what they've said, it does sound pretty interesting. They have alluded to, and I quote, let me use the EA CEO, Andrew Wilson, his actual quotes here. He says, "This will bring massive and immersive battles to life with more players than ever." And also using the words maps with unprecedented scale. The next division of Battlefield takes all the destruction, player agency, and vehicle and weapon combat to the next level. That's interesting to note. Are they going for a higher player count? Because Battlefield goes up to like 64 players. Are they going to go crazier? Are they going to essentially give us MAG or the ideas in the game MAG? That's what I'm curious to see. Like, is there a solution for standing out, being different, having a bajillion players in one match? The most difficult thing, of course, is charging $60 or $70 for a game and then getting that many players in a match in 2021, considering so many people are playing other things, whether they're free or just demanding more of your time. Fortnite, I don't know. This is going to be really interesting. There's also been rumors floating around. I'll link this in the description below as well. Like real-time, realistic skyscraper destruction in the next game. I'm a simple man. I like games with destructibility, so I could be interested in that. There's also stuff, people have suggested that this is not going to be a Bad Company game still. According to some people that often have insider knowledge, the word on the street is that they are still holding that card. They're going to play that card later on, so this might not be Bad Company, but with the scale of destruction and all the words that they're talking about, I can only hope that it's something like Bad Company, because those games were really damn good. I would very much like to see Battlefield return to glory. The heyday, I had a blast from like Battlefield 2, 3, 4. But again, I gotta keep emphasizing, things have changed. So I wonder where this is gonna go. I'm curious to see what you guys think if you're down to play a new Battlefield in 2021. Would you play a new Battlefield?
Hell yeah. I played the shit out of Battlefield 4.
In other news, we're going to stick with EA for a second because they have officially unveiled this week the Mass Effect Legendary Edition. For the longest time, I feel like this was like the worst kept secret in the video game industry, but now we get to see it in all of its glory in Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3, beautifully remastered with surprisingly a lot of work put into Mass Effect 1. Totally retooled a lot of things, adjusted things, graphics got an overhaul. It seems like it actually ditches some of the art style elements of the original game, which I'm kind of bummed about, but I gotta judge it when it comes out, of course, in a before you buy video. Still, I'm really excited what they have going on here with a unified character creator for 1 through 3. They're not doing multiplayer, which there were some people that really like that multiplayer, but they're focusing on just kind of improving the core experience here. And I'm excited to dive into this one, especially because they put a lot of work into Mass Effect 1, which time was not kind to. A lot of people dunked on it pretty quickly, but I think Mass Effect 1 is great. So a better version of it, I'm very in here for. Mass Effect 2, I think, is still my favorite, but I'm curious to hear what you guys think. What's your favorite Mass Effect game, and are you going to jump into this when it releases? The release date is May 14th on Xbox, PlayStation, and PC, so let me know. And moving on to more business-type news, since it is the time of earnings calls, we got some new information behind Activision, Blizzard, and what their intentions are moving forward for 2021 and beyond. And the biggest thing to come out of it is that Overwatch 2 and Diablo 4 are not coming in 2021, which is pretty crazy. When they first showed off Overwatch 2, at least, it seems like things were well underway, considering the way it's kind of like this new attachment to the old game and the way it kind of was going to roll out. I expected to see it this year, but that's pretty big, man. I wonder if development from the pandemic had kind of affected them to the point where it has affected a lot of other studios the past couple weeks. You know, we've been talking about a lot of games getting delayed, so maybe that's the case here. Diablo 4, I can wait. Take as long as you need. Make it good. I didn't really expect it to come this year. Anyway.
Nah, hurry the up.
Well, they essentially said that this year they're going to focus on releasing some remastered content and stuff like that. A lot of people are expecting that to be something like a Diablo 2 remake or remaster, with 2022 being the year they really ramp it up. So, is this going to be a quiet year for video games? We've been speculating on that here, but we'll see where it goes. Next up, this episode is brought to you by Raycon. We're very happy that they've continued to sponsor our show because we've been using these wireless earbuds for quite a while and have been really impressed with the quality. Not a lot of ways to say this, but essentially if you are the type of person that doesn't want to spend a ton of cash on name brand, Raycon's really your best bet because they were established and launched by music industry pros. The everyday E25 model, for example, comes in a variety of different colors and they're super discreet and low profile. That's why I really like them. I like just popping them in my ears and going, especially with the winter now. They actually fit underneath my beanie, no problem, very important. And of course they have 6 hours of playtime and they charge nice and quickly in this cool little easy to carry carrying case. Easy to carry carrying case, that's what. So if you want to check them out, and it does support the show, click the link in the description or go to buyraycon.com to get 15% off your first order. That's buyraycon.com/Gameranx. And thanks as always to Raycon for sponsoring our videos. Next up, let's talk about this leaked remaster of Goldeneye because it looks really damn good. So the story is here, there was a time where there was a bunch of Goldeneye stuff flying around, a remake and different spin-off games, but they were working on a Goldeneye remaster for Xbox 360. It went unreleased, but now a leaked version of the game is out, and you can play it through an emulator if you're nasty. And so far, what we've seen from it is awesome. I haven't got my hands on it yet. I plan to probably check it out this weekend, but shit, it looks cool. It looks great. It keeps the complete integrity of the original game. You can actually switch between new and old looks. And yeah, Goldeneye is of course a historic first-person shooter. People feel very strongly about it one way or the other. My favorite thing about it is the music by far. I do want to hear from you guys in the comments if any of you did check this out. How do you feel? Any tips for people who want to jump in who maybe don't know how to mess with this type of stuff? Let us know. But now I want to link some cool stuff in the trailer, some stuff you may have missed throughout the week. The first thing I want to link is we finally got some gameplay for I Am Jesus Christ. You remember this game that we probably talked about like a year or so ago where it was announced? It's like a first-person adventure game RPG where you play as Jesus himself. Well, this gameplay is rough as hell. I understand it's an independent creator. I'm not going to dunk on their dreams at all, but I do think, especially with the way it's crowdfunding, I think something like Jesus, and I don't belong to any religion or anything like that, but I think the story of Jesus deserves a bit more of a budget, a bit more production quality. And instead of dunking on this, I want to be productive and say like, hey, maybe a cool game could come out of this. That would benefit all of us. I don't know. But if you want to check that out, that of course will be linked down in the description below. But of course, I also linked this really cool thing, thanks to some of you guys on social media who shared this, who showed it to me. Someone is essentially creating Metal Gear Solid 3 maps in Metal Gear Solid 5. And it looks really cool. I don't think they're going to go the whole remake route. This seems like just a fun fan project. But the little glimpses that we have here, shown on Reddit, which we will link, of course, look pretty sweet. Good job. Metal Gear Solid 3 is awesome, and honestly, if you take the Metal Gear Solid 5 gameplay and drop it in the jungle-ish settings of Metal Gear Solid 3, that could be amazing. Also, just wanted to point out that this week it dropped, if you have a PlayStation 5, Destruction AllStars is out. Seems like people aren't super into it. I've played a couple of hours. I found it to be shallow, passive, okay, fun. But I am curious to see what your opinion is, just because I don't know if we're putting out any videos on it, but it's out, so here you go. I linked the trailer in the description. I also linked the before you buy for Werewolf the Apocalypse Earthblood. That's that goofy werewolf game based on the tabletop universe. It's not as cool as I was hoping, but some people might love it, so I linked it before you buy down in the description. I'm a little hard on it, but hey, I just love werewolves. I love vampires a little more, but don't tell anyone that. Also, another thing I want to link. I got a good read for you guys this week. I'm excited. I always try and link stuff to read because I say all the time, we talk about video games so much, we might as well do our homework on them. This is a good long read about the making of Hitman, the original Hitman, codename 47. It's a very cool read. It's not super long, but it is pretty interesting and it goes in depth. So if you want to check that out, they wrote a great piece. It's linked down there. But last, and certainly not least, let's talk about Stadia. A lot of people are saying now that Stadia is dead this week. It's kaput. I wouldn't go that far yet, but there are some signs that Google and Stadia are shifting gears. So essentially this week, Stadia is shutting down its game studio initiatives. As you remember, Google and Stadia bought up some game studios to kind of develop games for this platform. And Jade Raymond, the legendary developer lead, was behind that. She's now leaving, and all of these places are shutting down, which, like, come on. Like, that's the most frustrating part for me, dude, because it's like, look, you bought up these studios and then you shut them down. Like, they could have been out there just making games for everything. Of course, I'm not a business person. I don't know how it all goes down, but it just sounds like a bummer. But what Stadia has now said is that they are refocusing efforts to focus on just providing tools to third-party developers out there already. I wonder what this means, what's next for Stadia. We kind of like re-reviewed it after it kind of cleaned some things up, and it seems like it's a decent service if you want it. There are people out there that do like it. I'm still ultimately not the biggest fan of game streaming except for specific cases, so I'm curious to see where this is going to go. Do you use Stadia? Are you sad about this? Were you looking forward to some Google Stadia in-house studio developed games? Let's talk about this stuff. Curious to see where it goes. Like I said, I am sad because now those people who were at those studios are now out of a job. I don't think that's ever good at all, but we'll have to see where the future lies. Is it game streaming, physical, somewhere in between? Who knows? Now, before we go, I just want to hear from you guys about everything that we talked about this week, from the Hitman piece to the EA news about Battlefield. What are they doing? What could you want from a Battlefield in 2021? Are you going to play Mass Effect Legendary Edition? What's your favorite Mass Effect game? Let's talk about all this stuff. I want to hear from you guys. We'll be down in the comments as much as possible, but things get a little crazy, so like I always say, if you want to yell at me directly, find me on Twitter and Instagram at Jake Baldino or youtube.com/Jake Baldino. But thank you guys for coming and watching. We're here every Friday, just trying to fill you in on what's been going on, so thank you for coming around. Clicking the like button does help this show. We would legit really appreciate that. Thank you. And if you're new, consider subscribing, maybe hitting that notification bell because we put out videos every single day. But as always, guys, thank you for watching. I'm Jake Baldino. Pizza's on me. It's like pizza. Goodbye. That's a Ghostbusters 2 reference. No one's gonna.